When I thought of black art, even during the Harlem Renaissance, it was the written arts that first came to mind. Poets, novelists, playwrights. But visual arts has always been overlooked. So I wanted to highlight not only our ancestors and elders of visual arts, but the young bloods that are carrying on the torch of tradition. This is the visions of our people. Art ain't mere entertainment for us. It's our calling card to future generations of the bar set by our ancestors, reminding us that we look like this. Beauty and pain etched in stone and painted on canvas, this too is a part of our legacy. Through our pictures we see mirrors, reminding us of our strength, of our beauty. This is who we are. And I'll scream it from the rooftops. But me personally, I was inspired by Basquiat.
Inspired by Basquiat, my chariots of fire. Everybody took shots, hit my body up tired. Couldn't walk in my daughter's socks. Banksy, Basquiat.
Done got it, painting pictures like Dali. This is Basquiat with a passion like pop.
Now watch me rock the spot like Basquiat. Minus the heroin and make my face popular like Andy did to Marilyn.
Shotty, how could you not mind me? Jock him out me entirely. Chop the top off the drop and tell him Basquiat inspired me.
Restaurant, and they write about it in the post on page 6, you know. And
do you like that?
I mean, sure, in some ways it's fun, yeah.
In some ways, it's not fun.
I know. I like to remain a little reclusive, and not be just and be out there, you know, just to be brought up and to be brought down, you know, like they do to most of them.
Yeah, because sometimes they can turn on you, can't they?
Well, they always do. I can't think of one big celebrity type person who they haven't done that to.
They turned on you?
Here and there.
Jean-Michel Basquiat was born in Brooklyn, New York on December 22nd, 1960. His father was a Haitian and his mother was of Puerto Rican descent. Contrary to what Basquiat led the world to believe, his family was upper middle class, not poor. He attended an alternative high school for gifted but troubled students and left home a year before graduating. He lived with friends in Lower Manhattan selling hand-painted postcards and t-shirts on the streets. His main activity, however, was spray painting graffiti on buildings and in subway cars with his friend Al Diaz. Their work was cryptid and consisted of weird stick figures, African-like face masks, and crowns, often accompanied by unexplained words and phrases. They signed their work Saymo, and it quickly attracted the interest of the New York art world. Basquiat's story is both one of inspiration and also a cautionary tale. Basquiat shot to stardom very quick and became famous very fast, and that sometimes can have negative effects on the artist, and unfortunately for him, it did. From suspicion to to paranoia, to overdosing on drugs, which ultimately took his life. Back in August 12, 1988, he died of a heroin overdose. But even so, in all of that, I believe all of that was represented in his art. He called his art crud art. That's the name that he gave it when he presented it to Andy Warhol, which ended up becoming a mentor to him. Of course, there was also rumors of Andy Warhol even molesting Jean-Michel Basquiat and things like that as well. Don't really have enough time to get into that. But one of the things that I love so much about Basquiat's art, because if you look at it, it looks childish almost, and I think that's the beauty of it. I believe that Basquiat was stuck between like innocence of a child and frustration as an adult, trying to figure out his own space in the world. And the way that he did it was almost like in a childlike way. I'm gonna write on these walls, I'm gonna scribble on these papers and things like that. And it ended up working for him. And I think his style, the reason hip hop has embraced Basquiat so much. I mean, I even got a tattoo of one of Basquiat's famous line, most young kings get their head cut off, which again goes back to some of his ideals that he had of once he got on fame, suspicion and paranoia, that someone is always gunning for you, someone's always trying to take the head of the young king that rose amongst his own people. And I think hip hop has a innate connection with that idea, and I think that's why hip hop has embraced Basquiat so much, more so than any other visual artist that I can think of off the top of my head. His style was a freestyle, it's almost, Basquiat's style was like freestyle and rap and free jazz, what I'm saying? It was almost like the improvisation of jazz and the freestyle of hip hop at the same time, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Just going back and studying the brother, and he definitely earned his spot in art history. As a matter of fact, I think it was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, Basquiat posthumously actually broke a record of an art sale. One of his paintings sold for a mind-blowing $110 million. 100. You can't even say that with a straight face. You gotta be like, $110 million. Yeah. But that's dope though. On the cautionary side of Basquiat's life, I hope other artists take heed to it. As an inspiration, I hope they also take heed to it as well. That you don't have to mimic anybody else's style. That you don't have to mimic anybody else's style. You don't have to fit into any boxes or anything like that. And understanding that the emotional connection between your soul and your paintbrush or your charcoal or your pencils or pens or whatever the case may be, they're needed in the world, and people do appreciate them. Not only monetary wise, but these are the things that we leave behind to let people know that we're here and give examples of our greatness. So, shout out to Basquiat, man. That's my dude.
To find a new idea. All my old ones are kind of dead. Another place where I could meet some new friends.
Augusta Savage was born Augusta Christine Fells on February 29, 1892 in Green Cove Springs, Florida. She was the seventh of 14 children. Her father, Reverend Edward Fells, was a Methodist minister who would beat her when he found her making animals out of clay. She would later say that my father almost whooped all of the art out of me. Let us all be grateful that he didn't, because Augusta Savage would grow on to be an Harlem Renaissance artist, and her bread and butter was depicting our blackness in its true beauty, fighting against the racist stereotypes of ourselves that were so prominent in American society. Now let us actually sit back and admire some of Augusta Savage's work from here on out.
I hope someone will be there waiting, even though I won't be begging for new love affair with me. The sky will have to be so caring, a new challenge to have me smiling for new love affair with me. I hope someone will be there waiting, even though I won't be begging for new love affair with me. The sky will have to be so caring, a new challenge to have me smiling for new.
We the best music.
Oh, this what we doing here?
Another one.
I might have to put on my jury for this one.
Rave talk, oh, we talking that rave talk. Safe talk, here we go, talking that safe talk. Major key alert.
Oh, we good now.
Major bag alert. DJ Khaled. I got them keys. I got them keys. I got them keys. I got them keys. We go to court, we gon' plead the fifth. I know the judge, I'ma shoot him some chips. I got them keys. I got them keys.
So he sacks.
Alright, yo, man, we up in here, man. What's good?
Alright, everything's good.
That's what's up, man. Oh, man, this is real special to me, man, because, you know, we known each other for years, man. You know what I'm saying? From in ciphers together, now we working on films and stuff like that, man. So it's a beautiful thing, man. It's dope. I'm super excited, man. Watching from afar. I'm like, that's my club right there, y'all. I used to spit with that guy right there, man. So for the people who don't know, what's your name? Where you from?
Justin Galloway, 27 years old, from Anderson, South Carolina.
Alright. So what got you into painting?
I started painting in elementary school in class, and I really didn't think I was that good at it. I was really interested in drawing more than painting, and then here recently I picked up a canvas and said, you know, I think I can do that, and here we are.
Nice. So, like, where do you draw your inspiration from in your art?
It really depends on how I feel. Anything I see in daily life, riding back and forth from work, feelings from work, really anything. I can, draw from pretty much any feeling: happiness, sadness, confusion. It doesn't really matter. It's almost like therapy to me.
You know, a lot of folks who I've interviewed so far has said the same thing. You know, saying that, like, in me being a writer, I can understand that from a certain point of view. I just can't paint. Writing is you can.
I like what you do.
Right. Well, I'll put it like this: writing is my area of expertise, and that's how I express myself. You know what I'm saying? Artistically.
That's painting, just different medium.
Right. So, can you give your perception on the connection between art and therapy, art and depression, art and emotional?
Well, for me, when I do art, it's almost like a relief. My mind is always running 1,000 miles per hour. So
Right.
The only time it's really quiet is when I'm doing some art, when I'm drawing, when I'm painting, when I'm thinking, maybe poetry or the rap that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It eases the mind. It's the escape and the destination. That's the way I like to see it.
Nice. Word. So, you know, as I just look around briefly, you know what I'm saying, like I see, you know, I saw that first from Andre 3000, you know, his jumpsuit, the cross cultures, you know, dark people suffer most, and I see the sister right over here and love and stuff like that. How much of, like, your own experience of just being a black man, you know, reflects in your art?
Well, I say it reflects 100%. You know, my art is 100% a reflection of me, and I, you know, am black male. So if you go across the room, the first one over there, Lord, please keep your hands on me. You know, so much is going on in the media, so much is going on in your own family, so much is going on in your own neighborhood. You know, in many cases, nothing much that you can do about it. So this is my outlet, so to speak, so I don't have to go out and scream and yell and act a fool.
True indeed.
And I feel like as you do that, and you know, if people are able to see this and get that message from it, or get a sense of peace from what I do out of maybe anger or regret or feeling the sorrow of what you see on the news, if they can get that message, we can transform it in a positive light. So we don't have to go out here and do exactly what somebody else does to you.
Right. I can dig it, and like, I mean, you know, part of the reason that I'm starting to do what I'm doing, you know, like even from, you know, collecting books and things like that, is I think it's important for us to house our own information, so we can, you know, disseminate it to our children and things like that, because like there it is, you know. So the more of the narrative that we control, the more of our own destiny that we control, because we're telling our own story to our children ourselves and not relying on anyone else, you know, saying to do that for us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with art with me, you know, it saved my life, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, and I think a lot of artists kind of feel that same way too. Do you have similar things? Like, you know, if it wasn't for art, where would you be?
I might have went crazy. As I said previously, though, my mind works, and that's when I'm woke, when I'm asleep. It's straining to go through that. It's not all bad thoughts. Some of them are bad, some of them are good, but everything together will really drain your energy.
Yeah. True.
I mean, that's what it is. And when I can go into just a peaceful place of, all right, I don't have to think about what's tomorrow. I don't have to think about what's going on later. I don't have to think about what I'm eating for lunch. I don't have to think about what dinner is. I don't have to think about what bill is due next. You know, it's just this right here in front of me, right here, right now.
That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
True indeed. Do you mind going to, like, what's your process of you know, creation? Do you have a picture already in mind, or do you just kind of let your arms and your body speak for itself?
Well, I started out usually with something in mind, but here recently I'll start maybe just paint the background. Just paint just one solid color, maybe put several colors on the canvas and just let it flow 100%. I'll go ahead and hang it on the wall and look at it every day. And then eventually it becomes what it's supposed to be.
Right.
So in a nutshell, that is the process. I just get started with one piece, hang it up so that I can see it, almost like a vision board. If you see it, you're more likely to do something with it.
Gotcha. Dope. So what's your end goal, man? Like, is there a specific goal that you're trying to reach when it comes to painting and doing your art? Or?
Truthfully, not particularly. I just want to be the best artist that I can be, and you know that transfers to trying to be the best man I can be, because my art is a reflection of what I want to be.
Woo! I thought I was in the poetry, boy. That was deep, son. Dope, man. kid involved in art?
Actually, when I was a kid, I used to draw like, I used to draw, I don't know, man. I used to just like, cut.
It's all good. We can edit it.
Nah, all right. I started drawing when I was a kid. Comic book figures and stuff like that, superheroes. But I never really thought much of it because coming from Camden, New Jersey, only thing people used to really back in the 70s or starting in the 80s was just tag, you know. But that was that was like a little after my time. I got a little older. I really wasn't thinking about art per se. But I did take an art class in high school and failed it. So that was crazy. But you know, that's where I started drawing when I was doodling when I was a kid.
So when did you start taking it seriously, more so seriously?
Ooh, well, in all actuality, when I started drawing, painting was about 4 years ago, and I was in Newark, Delaware, and I was going through a rough time as far as with depression, battling depression. So I had a lot on my mind, you know. So what I wanted to do was I always loved charcoal, the richness of it. Color, the texture, I love it. So I started drawing and using some charcoal, graphite, pencil, just doing like some drawings and stuff like that. And I went to this gallery in Wilmington, Delaware, and I was walking through with my kids, and I was looking around, and I was like, looking at all the paintings with the color on it. I was like, yo, I could do that.
Right.
I could do that. So it started, you know, it still helps me with the sort of therapy as far as for myself, as far as painting is concerned. But, you know, I really, you know, wanted to just express myself and just try to fight those demons that were battling me at that time. You know, and, you know, it's that unspoken word. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started basically getting back into it, or getting into it because of trying to have an escape route for myself, and you know, and it turned into something else. So I'm still doing that though. It's therapy.
Nice, absolutely. So you said your favorite thing was charcoal. Like, did the charcoal like represent anything for you? Is there any reason why charcoal was that thing? You know.
Actuality, charcoal is, you know, it's the color of it, the black, you know, it's, you know.
The blackness of it.
Yeah. You can say that, but it's just, I don't know, it's just something that resonated to me that, you know, I want to use this. In actuality, I haven't used it since I first started. Because now, since I started dealing with color, I do use mixed media and use some charcoal in it. But it could be white, it could be, you know, brown, it could be different colors. So it just doesn't necessarily have to be black, but I still use some charcoal in my work.
Gotcha. Now, you know, you touched on, you know, how like art and depression, you know, I dealt with the same thing. You know, my art is writing. If it wasn't for writing, man, I would have went plumb crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, especially within our communities, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, most of the time, therapy isn't a thing that's promoted. Like, yeah, let's go to therapy or anything like that. So we had to find our ways, you know, to do that. And also, I want to let you know as well, on February 24th, I'm throwing a private event here. It's called Restoring Richland. We're actually talking about mental health.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. But yeah. So, you know, if you like, I'd like to hear you know, more of your perspective on art and depression and how it related to you.
Okay. Well, personally, myself, as far as my style is concerned, I really don't like to think. I like to think outside the box. I don't like to think that my art should be subjected to criticism as far as, oh, you're contemporary, you're figurative, you're, you know, abstract. I love but you can see in my work, you can see a lot of color, you can see a lot of direction, you can see a lot of in some of my pieces you can see movement, but not too much. I love doing African American. I love doing African American. So you know, I love just basically just, you know, figurative abstract work. I'll use my colors very loosely, and sometimes I overthink it, but I just want to just be able to feel free to express myself without any constraints on my work.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, did you look to any other artists that inspired you to do that? Like, for example, one of my inspirations is Basquiat. I got the most young things.
I like him.
And you know, like even as a writer, like his whole style kind of resonated with me because how he just went off is like he paints like jazz would seem like. You know what I'm saying? It's like the free form jazz and painting, and that's kind of how I am with writing. Like, did you have any, you know what I'm saying, painting OGs?
Well,
that you looked
I
up to?
really didn't see. When I wasn't painting, I really wasn't in the art scene. But I love art. I love spoken word.
Right.
But I never thought I would be a painter.
Right.
Or be expressing myself in this form of fashion. But I always loved spoken word. I just, I used to write lyrics back in the day for rap, but that never took off.
Right.
But Basquiat is one of them. Ernie Barnes, I love the way he uses the human anatomy to like stretch the arms, and I love his work as far as figuratively is concerned. I love Boa, which is he does a lot of stretched arms and figurative stuff like that. But locally, I rock with Cedric Umoja. I rock with Krigger. And there's a couple other artists here locally that I like and I gain inspiration from. And but it's a host of other artists out there. A dude named John Moody. He's a phenomenal artist. I look at their works, but I just look at it and say, okay, I like that style. But a lot of the new artists that's out now, I really can't name them, but I like looking at their work and admiring their work. And another female artist here, we credit some of the female artists here, Heather Michelle, is a dope African American female woman, and she does portraits.
Gotcha.
See, I'm more abstract with my stuff.
Gotcha. Nice. What does it mean to be an artist to you?
It means freedom of expression. Regardless of the circumstances of what I'm going through in life, the ups and the downs, art gives me the freedom to be expressive, to be universal with my love of the canvas. It gives me the opportunity to show that I'm a leader in my community, in the arts community, especially with my daughters. That's one of the reasons that I do what I do. I want to leave a legacy for my daughters. And basically, when they see African American male and females that I'm painting, they look at that and be like, my 8-year-old be like, Dad, you the best painter ever. I'll be like, oh, baby, thank you so much. In the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, right. But, I take that energy and I use it for goodness.
Right.
Like if I was a superhero, I'm using my powers for good.
Right.
So I'm using my art for good to be able to express to the community in the Columbia area itself that, there are artistic people here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get underappreciated at times.
Absolutely.
And it takes a while for some artists to get that niche. And also I'm a self-taught artist.
Oh,
so,
nice.
I'm learning as I go. YouTube was my best friend.
Right.
But, art to me is basically a way of not escaping reality, but being able to produce some arts where people in our community can look and say, I can relate to that.
Right.
I can see myself in that portrait, or I can see something in that portrait or that picture that you painted that I can relate to.
Yeah.
And and that's what it means to me, is being able to, for other people to look at my art and be like, you know what, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Props, salute, and it just gives me the motivation to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, I guess, mini documentary as well, because as a poet and a writer myself, we're always sought, like when black art comes up, it's easy to, at least for me, maybe because I'm biased within my writing bubble, like, you always think of the Langston Hughes, the writers and this, that, and the third, but the painters seem not to have as an equal voice. when it comes to like the black arts as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like the black arts movement was like the soundtrack and the visuals of like of like the Black Power movement, and art in and of itself had a lot to do with the self-esteem of our people. And I think it's important that we tell our own story. You know what I'm saying? In this age, all you have to have is a camera. I don't have the most expensive equipment in the world, but I got a camera and something like that, and we can produce it ourselves, press it ourselves, and give it to our own people directly, so they'll know from us, by us, word to FUBU, that, you know what I'm saying, we was out here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And do you think that artists have a responsibility to the community?
Yeah.
So
We do have a responsibility to the community, because each one teach one.
That is.
You know, and it's also about building up our communities. If I see another artist that, you know, I look at everybody's art like it's something. I don't look at somebody's art and be like, oh, right. You know, I don't get that or whatever, because everybody's freedom of expression is different, you know. But in the community itself, if you go on Millwood, Cedric Emotion, and some other things, there's a mural down there, and for the community, that was a powerful upliftment. Just to see that, them walking past, or, you know, but I've heard that people, you know, in the community was like, yo, we glad y'all did this. We thought y'all forgot about us. You know, so that right there lets us know that we have a voice in our community that should not be ignored. You know, and if we don't organize you know, first I have to take care of accountability of myself first.
Sure.
You know, to be able to get out there in avenues where I normally wasn't at before, you know, is a blessing. Because, you know, when people see my art, or some artists may see my art that that's starting out painting or drawing, they be like, man, yo, your inspiration, I appreciate that. And I just say, be true to yourself. And, you know, you got to get back to it. You got to get back to the community, because the community is what supports us. And we support our community. I love the arts community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I guess all our communities around the world. But, you know, it's more than just our community. It's where we grow up. It's where we live at. It's where we spend our money at. It's where we take our kids to the park at, you know, interacting with other kids. So when you go out and you just immerse yourself in the community, you feel better. You know, you be like, I've done something to help. Like when I was doing HIV education, you know, it was all about me giving that person that information to help them stay negative, or if it was positive, to be able to continue to do the right things and stay healthy and protect themselves, you know. But, you know, the community is, if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't be here. You know, I mean, I would be here, but, you know, it would be meaningful within my own right, as well as my art should be. But you have to share it with your community so they can see, you know, they can see these images. You know, they can see these images of freedom and self-expression, and you know, we got our good and our bad, but we still are able to uplift ourselves and rise above any occasion.
Gotcha.
Thank you. kind of unique. That's also my pen name, Tony Tone, when I signed my artwork. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. My history starts in 1972.
Nice. So, how did you get into your art?
With that, it started in elementary school, and I think the teacher wanted us to draw stick figures, and I only saw three-dimensional. So I started drawing not stick figures, but I had stick figures to come out with forearms and sides to it. So when they asked us to draw boxes and stuff like that, so I would put the three-dimensional to it, and because of what I saw. And when I first started, it's all about what I saw.
Gotcha. Dope. So as a black man, you know what I'm saying, and on top of that, as a black man artist, how does, I guess, your experience as a black man in America, in the South, really, how does that or does that, you know, reflect in your art?
Most of my art, I'd say, is ethnic based. I show a lot of Southern culture. When I draw ethnic folk with big lips.
Gotcha.
You know, wide noses. That's my background. That's where I came from.
Yeah.
And so I like to reflect what I've experienced, what I've seen, and what's just in my DNA. I've done other types of art, but what comes natural to me is my culture. So to answer that question is basically the beauty of being black. That's what I try to capture.
Nice. I definitely get it. You know, man, I definitely get it, man. As in, I don't know if it's only because I'm a writer. It's like, as a writer, I always envy the musicians and the painters, because it seems like they can do what I can do, but through their particular craft. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes I have to sit back and go to an art gallery or listen to some music to be just to see how dope it is from somebody else's realm, because we're all doing the same thing, but in such different ways. Because like, it's people who can play the keys crazy, but when they get them in front of a microphone, nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing how that happens. You know what I'm saying? How do you think, you know, the arts in general can help build a sense of community within the black community?
Well, with that, within the black community, you can teach. It's like that old saying: you can buy fish, or I might be saying this wrong, but you can take a man to the water or whatever, and show him how to, or fish with them, or show him how to fish, or
it's like you give a man a fish to eat for a day, teach him how to fish.
He can eat for a lifetime.
Right.
So with art and in the black community, and there's it's all different types of art. Young black youth, male and female, they have it in them. You just have to expose it. You have to be able to pull it out of them. And a lot of black youth, they see it, and they don't know how to express the art that's within them. A lot of black artists, they depict their surroundings and their experiences within their neighborhood and their community, and a lot of it is I guess you would say racially motivated.
Right.
But there's a lot more to that. And in the black neighborhood, in the black community, there's beauty all around us. I mean, we're made of beauty, so but it just takes a little bit to pull it out of the community, you know. And for me, when I was young, coming up, there was a need to go outside. So whenever I decided to draw something, it was always something on the outside, and whether it was a leaf, tree. I mean, that was one of my favorite things to draw was a tree, because it branched out and go everywhere. And you could just make V's and V's and V's and V's and V's. And but beauty's all around us, and once people realize what's around them, then and if they can only see they can only see and try to put what they have in their vision and bring that to life on paper or canvas or even in music. You know, I think the community would be a lot better as far as coming together and doing things as far as doing community events and stuff like that, instead of being separate and isolated.
Gotcha. All right. So if you could complete this sentence, like I guess, if my, like I guess in a word, my art is blank. What would you say?
My art is inspiring.
Nice.
And I'll say inspiring because if I can do it, small town guy from Columbia, South Carolina.
We in here.
You know, Metro. And
yeah, I mean,
if I can do it, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm living proof of the inspiration that can happen. Well, when you're inspired to do something, you can do anything. And I'm a firm believer that I can do all things, you know, through Christ who strengthens me. So I feel that my work is inspiring because when someone sees me do something, then that gives them the courage and encouragement to do it themselves. Because I'll tell anybody, you had to learn from something. You had to start somewhere. So I saw a quote just the other day on the internet. Every successful person had to fail, and they have to experience failure to be able to succeed.
There it is.
So I'm that type of person where, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I failed before. I failed a lot of times, but that's how you succeed. Because the opposite of failure is success.
There it is.
You know.
There it is. All right. So why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they can get your art? You know, how they can reach out to you, so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Well, I have a Facebook page, Mr. Picture. It's Tony Gillard / Mr. Picture. MISTA PICKCHA, and I know it sounds, you know, mixed up. That's because it is. It's but like I said, I try to keep it ethnic.
Sure.
So Mr. MISTA apostrophe, and then Picture PICK CHA.
True.
And you can go to my Instagram, Tony Gills 1972. You can check out some of my work there. You can check out my Facebook page. I put some on my Facebook page at Tony Gillard Facebook / Tony Gillard.
Cool.
That's about it.
Cool. Any parting words for the people?
Yeah, check my work out. Book me if you need some stuff done. I do murals, I do cartoons, I do portraits, I do whatever. When it comes to art, there's no limit. If you can think it, I can ink it. If you start it, I can draw it.
Hey, okay. Okay. And on that note, man, we appreciate you coming through.
Yes, sir.
Giving us a couple of minutes of your time, man. I'm excited to see how this comes out.
Appreciate
and,
it.
yeah, man. Power to the artist, brother.
Appreciate it,
All
brother.
right. Peace
Thank
and
you.
love.
All right.
All right. Those who don't know you, what's your name and where you from?
David Patterson, yo. Not a native of Columbia, but I'm from everywhere, man. Atlanta is actually the last place I call home. And I've been in Columbia, 3 years now? Don't even seem like it.
It's only been 3 years?
Yeah, well, when you first met me, I was still living in Atlanta. I was driving up.
Oh, okay.
And probably around that time when, with the art scene, what is it? I do a lot of festivals and events. And that usually starts from March all the way up to like maybe November. So December, January, February, March, that's like the downtime.
Gotcha.
So, and usually a lot of people know me here from the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everywhere else, like Atlanta, they know me from, I used to have a storefront / gallery in an area called Little Five Points. And if you're in Atlanta, and if you're not familiar with Little Five Points or what it's like, kind of like the Height, Ashbury area in, San Francisco, or the Village in New York.
Gotcha.
Eclectic. So if you want to be weird and strange and
weird.
not looked at weird, go to Little Five Points.
That's what's up.
Trust me. Better yet, a lot of celebrities like going there because when you're so laid back and hippie-like, you don't go all crazy over them. Like,
right.
Just come and blend in. But outside of Little Five Points, there was another area, Atlantic Station, which I'll be doing back again starting in March. Cool. Over in the Midtown area. So for people that's not familiar with that, y'all remember the TV show The Game?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Remember that people don't know they shot The Game in Atlanta over at the Atlantic Station. So that area, the restaurants or whatever, don't let that fool you. That's the area I used to do my thing at.
Gotcha. So what got you into art? Like how did it all start?
Naturally, been doing it all my life, man. Like since 1970, man. But I was a kid.
Right.
I wanted this dope
right.
at the beginning, nah. But you got to think when I was coming up, there was not a lot of things for black people back then on TV. Very few things. I mean, we had the radio, but TV, Seven and Son and Good Times, and later on the Jeffersons. That was who was the other one? What's Happening or something like
right.
that. That was about it. And I mention that because for a lot of us, especially those of us in my age bracket, Good Times, yeah. Jimmy Walker. And for the record, JJ did not actually draw those. It's an artist by the name of Ernie Barnes. He did that. Jimmy Walker was just an actor. You know, a lot of people think that he actually did it to this very day, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but no, him, that style, and not wanting to do that, but I've always been into that anyway.
Right.
And outside of that, when I was a kid, I got one for you. Comic books. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, comic books. Better yet, before I got into this, I wanted to be a comic book artist. The only reason I didn't never jump on it back then, you got to think, now I'm up in the 80s bracket. I couldn't get no girls to comic books. No, but somehow a friend of mine introduced me to black art, and I jumped on that ever since.
Right.
Yeah, so.
That's what's up, man. And I got a few of your pieces at the crib, man. And one thing that I've noticed is I never seen nobody have even a similar style to what you got, man. It's so intricate. You know, like I see the big picture and all, but then I see like the small, like nuanced, lines in it, and I think that's super dope, man. Like, did you come up with that style, or did you learn it from somebody?
I actually started from, like I said, middle school, high school, and I would draw something, but then I would look at the fur, the little details on an animal, like a cat or a dog or something like that, or spots on a leopard, or the wrinkles in an elephant or something like that, or a wood grain, or looking at the carpet, details on that, or like if you're on the sidewalk and there's like pebbles that's in the concrete or whatever, or even your fingertips.
Right.
Dude, even down to your
Right.
your dashiki right there. Yeah. So anything. So that the best phrase I have for it is organized confusion.
Right.
It's just like a whole lot of stuff, but putting it together, trying to make it make sense.
Right.
So like, of course, like what I'm working on now, this piece, when it's done, it's gonna make sense.
Right.
And it's just a whole bunch of different patterns. And this is what you see now is just the early stage. And what I do is just I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but like right now I'm just adding little details because a lot of people don't believe that I actually sit there, and on this one I'm just using a Sharpie.
Is that your medium of choice?
As of late, because man, I'm getting old.
Right.
And I'm usually doing like smaller sizes, and had to dig deep in my pocket. Before I got into Sharpie, and that's just recently. This just a Uniball ink pen.
Yeah.
They're waterproof. You can get them anywhere. And people think doing art or for what I do, you have to get like, you've seen it on TV, all these shows where say, oh, when you go to the art store or Hobby Lobby or Michael's, you gotta have this kit. It costs this much and this big canvas to do that. Go for what you know.
There it is.
But once I'm finished with this, these are just some examples I brought inside. This is like a finished product. Now hopefully you see some of the details in that.
Yeah, man.
The hair pattern is different than her skin. Her skin is different from the background. The background is different from the shirt. Even from the palm of her hand is different from the top of her skin.
That's wild.
This one is Love, Peace, and Soul Power. That's one. This one is another. This is actually one of my popular pieces here. And usually, a lot of my bigger pieces or popular ones, what is it? They come. I don't think too hard about it at all. It's just whatever I feel at the moment, I just run away with it. Hopefully y'all like it. But all these are like pretty much a reflection of me. This one is The Kiss of Royalty. On this one, you know what? A lot of pieces I do, I don't really have to explain it. I try to create like what you call a conversation piece.
Right.
And these right here, like you see it, you pretty much see it. You get it. You get it straight off the bat.
Right.
Just like the one with the Love, Peace, and Soul Power. You see it straight off the bat. You get it.
Right.
I don't have to explain too much. This one, what is that? Kiss of Royalty. That's one. And this one is one of my more recent ones right here.
Yeah, man, that's always been a favorite.
Yeah. Soul to Soul equals One Love. And this one I have them sharing an afro. Black man, black woman. And it's like a big, they're actually sharing the same afro.
Right.
But
it's a heart too, right?
Yeah, like
I just noticed that.
Yeah, I did it in a way where I highlighted the heart in there. So when people see it, they get it, but then they really get it once I say the name. It's like, oh, heck, that's dope. But then like, yeah, Soul to Soul equals One Love, and it's the way I titled it is the way people catch on to it straight off the bat.
Right. Man, that's dope, man.
You feeling that?
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, you know how we get down, bro.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, like, man. And I know
that's your speechless, man.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because we talk all the time, man, but like, you know, I guess this is the first time I don't know.
We go way back like James Evans' hairline.
So like, and I noticed the theme on yours too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's a lot of black love, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? It accentuates our natural features and things like that. I don't know, man. Speak a little bit on that.
Easy. I really have like 5 strong different types of titles for my art. First one, and like usually when you see me or wherever I set up at, whether it's at the market or at a festival or an event, 5 titles. Categories, I'm sorry. First category, black love. I'm going to show that.
Right.
The world, ooh, we need it. We need it bad.
Yes, indeed.
Like, you see it, I see it in you. I see it whenever I see you and your queen. Like, yo, the world need to see this, and even with my art, I'm not saying it in the form of bragging, but just saying in general, like, yo, we need to see it. We see what goes on out there. They want us to look stupid. They could sit back and laugh and reap the benefits, but they got it. They get it. They got it. Us, we talk about wanting it, but we don't get it. And while you see it on TV where, like, black love ain't on TV. Or like if you're black and you're natural, they say it's on TV, but that's like, not trying to be funny, the other black. Like, I don't know any sisters that look like that. Or I don't know any brothers that look like that. I see commercials, you know, they want this. I'm like, none of my peoples look like that. So I want to show the world, not only the world, like their kids coming up. They got to see it. They have to see it. They have to represent. Second category, like music. We're not joking that, man. We're a beast. And for those who don't know, when I say beast, we're good. Like, dude, almost everything we put our hands on. Like, if one group do it, we overdo it. But when we overdo it, we're not trying to be funny at it, but we be the best at it. And everybody knows that. Everybody, music, acting, athletics, scholarship, we get it. But sometimes some of the wrong things get celebrated. But back to the music, that's the other category. If it ain't, like, I'm from a generation outside of hip hop, like really slow music, like really slow jams, like people really singing from here, like you feel it. And I think after the 80s and maybe the 90s, after that it kind of died off. And funny as it sounds, I think slow drag dance, might as well say rest in peace to that, unless you're old, because now nobody want to do it. They doing what they see on TV and being negative about certain things, and no. But back on the music thing, music for me, it's really big, as you can see in the piece that I'm working on now. And along with that, that piece, music, for me to create music, moves me. That's it. I zone out. Like, I was up, like I said, last night. I was at it for like 3-4 hours and didn't even realize it. Like, I started, about 10-ish, 11 o'clock. I didn't not finish, but I had to make myself stop because my eyes was getting weak. And again, I'm getting older. I can't do the things I did 20 years ago. And the music I listen to really get me going, like I said, true soul music, either or neo soul. But there's this one cat I like to listen to that gets me going, and hopefully if anybody listening or want inspiration from it, listen to Jay Dilla. The dude, that cat, everybody got like that one person that either you're inspired by or whatever. For me, it's not even in the art, it's like in the music. In the music, it takes me to a certain place. Like, it's lost. There have been times at the market, I'll have my headphones on and I'm listening to Jay Dilla, and the music, I forget that customers are coming up. Dude, sometimes I get mad at people asking me a question. Man, I'm zoning. But that's music. And let me stick to the subject matter. Music, black love, music, category 3, black family. Again, you don't see it too much. Like now, I see what goes on out there, and I try to show us in a different light, or the light that we need to be seeing. Back to what I've been saying for pretty much early on in this interview. Like when you look at TV, I had a friend that asked me this: when was the last time you looked at a TV show where the black man, if he was a head, he was a strong black man, but he wasn't a comedian or he wasn't funny? You can't say Bill Cosby, he's funny. Carl Winslow, we can't say him because he's funny. Uncle Phil, we can't say that. James about as close, but because the role, he was serious, but it wasn't. He still his character was some kind of funny. But for the way he did it, it had to work for TV purposes. But I'm saying that because like the black man, the black family, like we don't get no love. Like we're known as deadbeats. We ain't hitting on nothing. We what is that? Chasing after women, more women. only thing better than one woman is a couple of more women.
Right.
And a lot of us, like we're you probably know, like I know, we're not taught that early on. Sometimes you have to like really dig deep to realize, I think, okay, now it's all about the black family. We don't know that because you can't wait till you get out of high school, get on your own, chase all the booty that you want, and it's not that. And then you realize things, and you see what's going on, and you deep down inside want to like change on that. So. And that's me because I used to be that dude. Yeah, I chase. I'm not trying to be funny or art. That's the one thing I didn't have to rap with females. Oh God, he's an artist. Yeah. It'll come. Hey, look, we live in a time that you got to be cute to get them.
Right.
Yeah. So I ain't that ugly, but I'm artistically talented. Artistically handsome. The art did that.
There it is.
But overall, it's just like I try to portray the black family. I want them to see black love all again. So hopefully, and I meet people, they're like, they're inspired from that. Like they see that and they see what goes on. And when it comes to that, just one phrase: don't watch TV, watch me. Don't get all that crap on TV.
Word.
Love hip hop and stuff. Category 4, black hair. The world tell us, or just being black period, black hair, and black and natural. They tell us, perm your hair, or you get the crazy weave, and if you're black, your nose is fat, your lip is fat. It's fat, and you go through the your mama this, your mama that, but it's deeper than that. But you have to embrace that. And now, we don't embrace this so much to a point, I'm not even going to dog them having the perms and stuff, because remember what I was just saying earlier? When we do it, they could do it, but we overdo it. We don't took weave and that kind of hair, and we made it ours.
Right.
Like, we're big, people, like, our people, if we sit back and really take and realize how much of a big influence. I remember coming up when black people started to get money like that. The young blacks, I'm talking about like starting in the 80s. Because people don't understand, we didn't always have money like that.
Right.
Like, it could be flashing. But just then, what is that? Where, I'm trying to stick to the subject at hand. Where, back then we used to buy the rims and this and that. Now to a point now, automobile companies, they making the rims already. Why you gotta buy rims now? They already got it. The cars with the booming systems. I'm coming from, generation of, we have to take our car stereo out so nobody will steal it.
Right.
Not everything is included because we did that.
Mm-hmm.
We changed it for them. So with that being said, that's more of like I said, black hair, black women, black being natural. So that's category 4. 5, and the 5th, the final category, just women, black women. Black women, they've been telling them for years, centuries, you're ugly, you're only good for this, you're only good for that. And a lot of them know, they know that they got it going on, they're beautiful, and I have a category for that. And so beautiful to a point. The nicest way I can say it, them, when, like say, they're women, they could be like 140 pounds. Oh my God, I'm fat. I can't find no man. I've been single for 6 years. Black woman could look so good. She could be 350. She almost never been single. She could get them. Mm-hmm. Like she could sit still. Her brother will holler, because we like that. We like the sisters for who they are. Whether it's weave, the nose. You could be fat, you could be skinny, you could be a little too big up here, you could be way too big down there. Even back here, we like it. Man, we like it. But everything I explained, or as far as the category, because I know during this conversation, I would go left, but I'm an artist, I'm weird like that, it happens. But overall, that's like the categories. Black love, black music, black family, black hair, black natural, black woman. And I just want to pull the beauty out of that. And I want the world to see what I see. And yeah, it's gonna be a good ride. Just follow me for a second.
Word, word.
Hey, Dale. Hey. Oh. Hey.
My name is Antonio Modesto Milian. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I live here in Greenville, South Carolina. I originally got started in art. I was probably about 12 years old in junior high school, and I took an art class with someone who studied under Georgia O'Keeffe, who's a very famous photographer and painter. I eventually quit art, went on to go to college, get a degree in accounting, and then in 2012 I picked up a camera and I started walking around downtown Greenville, and I started taking pictures of people, and I started a blog called Faces of the Upstate, where I captured the stories and people of Greenville, South Carolina, also Anderson and Spartanburg. That led into another opportunity where I ended up getting a studio. I got a studio for over 2 years at the Greenville Center for Creative Arts, and I was paid a stipend for art supplies. I eventually picked up painting, and I became a painter, and never thought that I would get into painting or anything like that. But I ended up starting a series called Pelo Malo Sin Vergüenza, which means in Spanish, bad hair without shame. Personally, it comes from my heritage of being Afro-Latino. My dad is from Puerto Rico. And I wanted to show and exemplify that through my paintings, that there was more to being Latin American than what they show on TV. Art is therapy for me. Another reason why I started painting is my brother was killed in 2016. And I put down my camera and I started painting after that as a way to get in touch with my emotions, get in touch with how I was feeling at the time, and pursue other opportunities. So that's how it was therapy for me. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity and listening to what I have to say. I appreciate it, and I wish you all great success in whatever artistic endeavors that you guys pursue.
You should be here with me, babe. Girl, you know you drive me crazy. You should be here.
I'm glad to finally meet up with you. You know, I was very excited to meet up with you again. Like I told you, when Dee showed pointed me to your website, I was like, yo, I gotta see if we can get this sister on here, because you know we got a lot of brothers, you know, representing, and I'm glad to have the sisters represented as well. And so for the people who don't know you, what's your name and where you're from?
My name is Maya Smith. I grew up here in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm originally from White Plains, New York, but I'm definitely a Southerner. I would definitely say I'm a Carolina girl.
That's what I'm talking about, Carolina gang. That's what I'm saying. That's what's up. So what got you into art?
Well, I like to say that I don't think I chose art. Art chose me. Since I was a toddler, I would say my daycare teachers and my family, they just realized that I love to color and draw. And so it was just something that naturally came to me that I was interested in. So
Nice. So I noticed that a lot of your artwork, or most, or pretty much all of it, is, you know, very I don't know if I know the technical term, but it's very real. You know, realism.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried any other styles, or and you came to that one, or did you just jump head into that one? How did you come to the style that you're rocking with now?
Yeah, so I would definitely say you're right. It's realism. Some of my pieces might be photorealism, and I see myself more as an illustrator. I think I do focus more on the face, on portraiture, and the form. I'm going out more to the figure. You know, I think I've always had a passion for fashion, and I thought I would be a fashion designer. And I originally attended the Fashion Institute of Technology in Manhattan, where I wanted to pursue a career as a fashion illustrator. Once I got into the program, I realized that there really weren't that many jobs out there for fashion illustrators. So I decided to attend the Savannah College of Art and Design, where I majored in illustration. And it was there that I learned about the children's book industry, and I took a portrait drawing class. And that's when I really realized, oh wow, I think I have something here. So over the years, even since graduating in 2006, I've just did a lot of research on other artists who focus on portraiture, and you know, I really started from drawing out of fashion magazines, and so I think, you know, looking at those and trying to make it look exactly like the photograph is kind of where the realism came from. But more of my recent work, you can see that I'm expanding out into different markets. I'm not focusing just on realism. I'm looking to do more things that are illustrated, so they're a little bit stylized and not so photorealistic. I'm also interested in mark making, so when you look at some of my drawings, you can see that they have kind of patterns and hatch marks in them. So, you know, I don't think I have one specific style. I think I have a variety of styles, and depending on the medium, whether it's colored pencil, graphite, acrylic, or oil, I approach it completely differently. So it just kind of depends on the mood.
Which is your favorite, I guess, medium to use?
I would definitely say colored pencil.
Yeah.
Things that I've started to kind of focus a little bit more on is ink drawing, so drawing with markers. I'm interested in working a little bit more on cut paper. And, you know, I really have an appreciation for oil, but I don't like the smell of it, so it's something I kind of stay away from.
Gotcha.
Acrylics I like. I approach that completely differently. I use like a palette knife. There was this artist, I want to say back in the 70s, maybe the 80s, Bob Ross. He was this guy with a big fro, this white guy with a fro, and I used to watch him paint those happy trees, and he would use a palette knife. And so some of my paintings, you can see that I approach the beginning phases of the artwork with a palette knife. And that just allows my style to be completely different from my photorealism. So I kind of dabble in different things, and again, it kind of just depends on the mood. But I have a strong place and love in my heart for colored pencils.
Gotcha. Now, earlier you said something about were you interested in illustrating for children's books, or is that something you're looking into? Have you already done that, or?
Yeah. So when I graduated from SCAD, I had what they call a dummy book. I took a class on children's book illustration, and we had to come up with a concept for a book. And then a dummy book is when you have to like illustrate every single page, and then you select certain images to render in full color. And it's a lot of work. And I was interested in it, but wasn't really sure if that was the direction I wanted to go. More recently, I had an amazing opportunity to meet an artist by the name of Tyrone Jeter, who's a phenomenal local black artist, and found out that he does children's books. He was very kind enough to share with me his book agent's information, and I'm actually in talks with her now about representation to do children's books. So it is something that I'm focusing on a little bit more now, but because my portfolio is so heavy with portraits, I have to develop a portfolio catered to that. So you know, I've been really fortunate to have great mentors and people in the industry, so I'm going to be working on creating a dummy book, actually of my friends' kids that live here in Columbia. They're two twins, and there's something that really draws me to them. So right now I'm in the process of selecting different images to work from, and then coming up with a little bit of a narrative for this dummy book, and that's used to kind of shop around to potential art directors or book agents and things like that.
So you're going to be writing the books as well?
No, I will not be writing. That is not a gift I have.
Gotcha.
This is more just for a visual, and then usually like publishing houses or sometimes it's authors themselves, they'll connect you or they'll seek you out.
Right.
So what I need is a representation to say, here's my skill set, this is my style, and then hopefully I'll get opportunities from that.
I believe you will. I definitely. I don't think you will have any problem.
I hope so.
You know, finding that connection, and because yeah, man, your work's definitely phenomenal.
Oh,
and I know you say like photorealism is like your main bag right now, but do you have like a secret stash of how you express yourself that the world hasn't seen yet? Do you have like a secret style that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anything's secret, because I think if you follow me on Facebook, which I probably post more things on, in my Instagram, which is Maya the Artist. Everything's printed Maya the Artist. I've probably more recently been working in the ink and the markers, and that's because with markers I cannot erase. It's once I make a mark, I'm committed to it, which is really great. I would say from people that I respect in the industry have given me creative advices that I think too much, I overanalyze, and so when I work in markers, I'm committing to that mark that I'm making. So if you've seen me posting things, you'll see every now and then I'll randomly put an ink drawing in there. And what I'm interested in doing with the ink drawings is actually very large-scale coloring sheets. It was a concept that I just kind of came up with in engaging the community and actually coloring my coloring sheets on large scale. So I was recently speaking to someone at TAPS downtown on Main Street about that, and someone here at the North Main Public Library about doing something to engage the community with that. Because I've been fortunate enough to have many opportunities to learn art and meet other artists, and so I want to kind of pay it forward. The other thing I think people are really drawn to are my paintings, but they happen very randomly. Right now I'm working on a painting I would say is more fashion illustration related, and again it's completely different because once I put the paint down I'm not erasing it. Right. So it's I see my art as therapy, and depending on what you're looking at, you can tell when I'm very controlled and focused and obsessed with it being perfect. Right. And then there's this other side of just letting go and being carefree, and I would say my paintings and my ink drawings are more of the letting go and being free. So I do feel like people tend to gravitate more towards my paintings. Unfortunately, I don't gravitate towards them as much. Right. So, but it's something that I'm playing around with. Yeah.
And and touching on how you say your art is your therapy, I ask this to all of the artists, and I'm an artist myself, and it seems like that's a common thread amongst artists.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more on the connection between your art and how it is like a release?
Yeah. I've always suffered from anxiety or depression, and I think really in the African American community, it's not something that I think people openly speak about. Fortunately, my mother was someone who was in tune to some of the issues that I was having as a young child, and so I've always had someone to talk to or discuss my issues with, but I've always felt like my artwork has been an outlet for me. Sometimes it's a welcome challenge, and sometimes it's overwhelming. I can say it's like a blessing and a curse in the same way. It's a blessing because it is a release, but sometimes it's a curse where that photorealism side, where you're trying to make it perfect, I often have to remind myself nothing is perfect. Right. And there are so many beautiful things about imperfections, but it's a constant struggle. And even now that I'm starting to teach, I love seeing my students interact with their work and trying to teach them some of the things that I've been taught as far as just letting go. As easily as making like a gesture drawing and releasing the idea of being perfect. I think we grew up in a society where there's so many expectations put on people, and specifically women, this idea of what we should look like and how we should carry ourselves, and the expectation of falling in love and being married and having a family. And so my work is an escape to that. I like to tell people I'm probably in a relationship with my art. The longest relationship that I've had, and there are moments where I might not be able to express myself verbally, but I can definitely sit down in front of my easel and let out my pain and my emotion onto the paper, and I find that as a healthy release for me. So yeah, I would definitely say it's therapeutic.
Yes, indeed. See, me being a writer, I like to sometimes watch other artists do their thing and things like that, because it's cool to see, I don't know, the same creative energy released in another way that I can't do.
Right,
you know. So if you could trade your art for another form of art, what art would it be?
To be a singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Music can change my mood in a moment. If I'm ever feeling overwhelmed or anxious, I'll put on my favorite song or I'll sing in the car, and I just think it has this hypnotic effect on me. So I highly respect singers.
What's your favorite kind of music?
Oh gosh, I like so many different types of artists, but I'm more drawn to R&B and hip hop. There are a lot of artists now that I don't know exactly what they're saying, but I would say, if you ask me what I was listening to right now, I love Miguel. I am drawn to different genres of music. I think I have a great respect for songwriters like Adele. I think she's extremely talented, and Sam Smith. But then I like old school hip hop like Tribe Called Quest, Busta Rhymes, and so a lot of different people. And I think what's great about music, it is an art form in itself. But if you probably talk to a lot of visual artists and they ask you like how do they work, very seldomly do we sit in silence, I think. But I even find myself when I'm listening to music, I'm drawing to the beat or the rhythm of what I'm listening to. So it's a great way to escape. But yeah, I mean, I think without sound, where would we be? I don't know. It just the idea that someone could come up with lyrics and then add a beat, and that's just I can't understand how it's done, but I have a great respect for it. Yeah.
I can tell you as a writer myself, we feel the exact same way about what y'all do. I was like, because I'm telling you, I'll just be sitting there and I was like, I can make a picture with words, but making a picture as a picture, not so much.
You can. I think if you know how to drive a car, and ride a bike, you can draw. And I've taught people to draw, never drawn before. It's eye-hand coordination. I think the biggest thing is having patience. I didn't wake up one day and knew how to draw this. It was skills that I learned over a period of time. And it's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't want to sit somewhere for 12 hours at a time and work on something, So I think it's just your degree of interest in it. I don't think I'm a great writer. I think that I can communicate well verbally, but if you ask me to sit down and write a paper, that's going to be really hard for me to translate it.
And it's amazing how it's the exact opposite with that too, because people be like, I can't write, and I say the exact same thing. I'm like, it's just that it's just something you might not have tapped into, but it's in you. It's just sometimes you just need guidance with it, and that's super dope. So, Any final words, any final thoughts that you want to give to the people, man?
Whatever is for you, whether it's music or art or poetry or public speaking, maybe politics or anything, skateboarding, spending time with family, whatever your talent is, whatever it is, do your best at it.
Let the people know how they can reach out to you, man.
Well, I'm on Facebook, my full government name, Justin Allen Galloway. I'm on Instagram, jgalloway_art, and my website's on the way but not out there yet.
Gotcha. Well, do you have any parting words for the people?
I just want to say to everybody who supported me over the years that my family, friends, art colleagues in the art world, I appreciate the support, time, and just understanding that you had for me, and if you're an artist, visual artist, whatever your passion is, do your best at it. I tell them, be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to see beyond the horizon. And just be spectacular in whatever craft you at. You can reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook at Project, ALEWIS PROJECT. You know, I guess I love you, Mama. I know, right?
You can do anything, and I'm a firm believer that I can do all things, you know, through Christ who strengthens me. So I feel that my work is inspiring because when someone sees me do something, then that gives them the courage and encouragement to do it themselves.
Alright, so why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they can get your art, you know, how they can reach out to you, so on and so forth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have a Facebook page, Mr. Picture. It's Tony Gillard / Mr. Picture. MISTAPICK.
Some artists want to be where they want to be at, and you won't know anything about it if you wasn't there to see it. So anybody coming up, do what you do. Be around positive people. Nobody negative. No negative cats. Negative cats, you won't get far, and then you'll not have to talk to them about the show. Like, you're gonna be on their level, and that's negative is never good. You're not gonna get anywhere with that at all, not by a long shot. That you have to be original, have your own style. You can study cats or whatever, but if you want to make a mark as far as just being you, you don't want to imitate anybody else because.
And I just want to thank you for the opportunity and listening to what I have to say. I appreciate it, and I wish you all great success in whatever artistic endeavors that you guys pursue.
You know, the biggest thing is be your biggest advocate. You're going to find in life that people have opinions of what they feel like you should be doing and what direction your life should be going in. And I think the biggest thing is to be true to yourself. You know, I can say that I had a great aunt who really loved my work, but I had some family members who were like, you want to be an artist? You're going to be able to pay your bills? And, you know, a lot of them have changed their perspective now. But I just feel like if you know that you feel something in your heart that you truly want to do, then seek out someone who's pursuing the same career that you're interested in and get advice from them, find out what their story was. I think when we have individuals that we can seek out advice from or, you know, have a mentor, that empowers us to continue to work harder. And there's somebody out there who's doing what it is that you want to do. So, and stay focused on that. You know, if you truly want to accomplish something, you know, keep your eye on the prize.